All right, pull up a chair, grab a cold one or a hot tea, whatever your vibe is, because tonight we're talking about something that hits close to home for so many of us. A lot of people ask me, like, Leo, how do you manage to do all this stuff, right? You've got the YouTube, the investing, the coding, the obscure hobby of competitive thumb wrestling on Tuesdays. Okay, maybe not the thumb wrestling, but you get the point. They see me doing a bunch of things and they're like, dude, pick a lane, focus, niche down. That is the mantra, right? And honestly, for the longest time, I thought they were right. I tried to force myself into one box, one label, one passion, and you know what happened? I felt like a part of me was dying, slowly, painfully, like watching paint dry, but on my soul, it was boring, it was stifling, and frankly, it was financially limiting too. Because when you put all your eggs in one basket, you're not just risking your investments, you're risking your entire sense of self-worth on that one thing. And let me tell you, that is a recipe for burnout, not breakthrough. So if you're out there, nodding your head, feeling that internal tug of war between all the amazing things you want to do, this video is for you. Because we're about to flip that whole narrative on its head. We're going to talk about why having multiple interests isn't a curse. It is a superpower, a secret weapon in this crazy game called life and wealth. First things first. Let's just get this out of the way. The idea that you have to pick one thing and stick with it forever, that is outdated, like super old school. Industrial Revolution era thinking. Back then, specialization made sense. You were a factory worker, you did one job, you did it well, and that was that. But guess what? We're not in factories anymore. Well, most of us aren't. We're in the information age, the innovation age, the age of infinite possibilities. And in this age, being a generalist, being someone who can connect dots across different fields, that is where the magic happens. Think about it, every truly revolutionary idea, every groundbreaking invention, it almost always comes from someone who wasn't just stuck in one silo. It came from someone who could borrow ideas from here, combine them with ideas from there, and create something entirely new. That is the power of having multiple interests. You're building a mental library of diverse knowledge and skills that you can draw upon in unexpected ways. It is like having a team of specialized employees, each one an expert in their own field, but they all report to you, and you're the CEO of your own intellectual enterprise. So, how do we actually do this? How do we go from feeling overwhelmed to feeling empowered? Step 1, and this is crucial, is to ditch the guilt. Seriously, stop feeling guilty about having many interests. It is not a flaw, it is a feature. It is how your brilliant, curious brain is wired. Embrace it, celebrate it, tell that little voice in your head that says, you're scattered, to shut its pie hole because you're not scattered, you're diverse, you're a walking, talking, multi-faceted diamond. Step 2, and this is where the money magic comes in, is to understand the concept of parallel play. No, we're not talking about toddlers in a sandbox, though the metaphor is kinda cute. We're talking about strategically dedicating time to different interests without letting them cannibalize each other. This isn't about doing everything all at once. That is how you get stressed and accomplish nothing. This is about understanding that different activities serve different purposes, and you can rotate through them. For example, your main job, that is your income generator, your bread and butter. Then you have a passion project, maybe it is writing a book, maybe it is learning a new language, maybe it is building a tiny house out of recycled bottle caps. And then you have your purely recreational interests, the things that just bring you joy. No pressure, no expectation, like playing video games or hiking or staring blankly at a wall. We all do it. Don't lie. The key here is scheduled inconsistency. Sounds contradictory, right? But hear me out. Instead of trying to work on all 5 of your interests every single day, which is impossible, you dedicate specific blocks of time or specific days to certain interests. Maybe Monday, Wednesday, Friday mornings are for your main hustle. Tuesday and Thursday evenings are for your side project, and weekends are for your pure joy activities. This way, each interest gets its dedicated time. Your brain gets to switch gears, and you prevent burnout. It is like crop rotation for your brain. Keeps the soil fertile. Step 3. Leverage the compound effect. This is a financial truth that applies beautifully to your diverse interests. Each new skill you learn, each new connection you make from a different field, it compounds, it adds up. Think about a Venn diagram. Each circle represents an interest. The more interests you have, the more overlap you create, and those overlaps, those intersections, that is where true innovation and unique opportunities lie. Let me give you a personal example. I started out super into investing. Right, then I got into coding because I wanted to automate some of my investment research. Then I got into YouTube because I wanted to share what I was learning. Now, none of these started as one grand plan, but because I allowed myself to explore each interest. They all started feeding into each other. My coding skills help my investing. My investing knowledge gives me content for YouTube, and my YouTube presence helps me connect with other smart people, which, you guessed it, often leads to new investment insights or business ideas. It is a virtuous cycle, a positive feedback loop, and it wouldn't have happened if I just said, nope, I'm an investor. I can't code. I can't be on YouTube. Every unnecessary limitation you place on yourself is like putting a tiny invisible employee out of a job, an employee who could have been making you money, or bringing you joy, or opening up new doors. Step 4, and this is a big one for all my overthinkers out there. Embrace imperfection. You don't have to be a grandmaster at everything. You don't have to be the world's leading expert in every single one of your interests. That is unrealistic, and it is a fast track to giving up. The goal isn't perfection. The goal is progress. The goal is learning. The goal is enjoyment. Allow yourself to be a beginner, to be mediocre, to be just good enough. I mean, I'm not the best coder in the world, not even close, but I'm good enough to build tools that save me time and make me money. I'm not the most eloquent speaker, but I'm good enough to share my ideas and connect with you all. The pursuit of perfection is often just procrastination in disguise. So drop that heavy burden and just start doing, just start exploring. Step 5, and this is critical for sustainable thriving. Understand the 3,000-hour rule. You might have heard of the 10,000-hour rule, right? The idea that you need 10,000 hours to master something, and while there is some truth to that for truly world-class expertise, for most of us, for most interests, 10,000 hours is an overwhelming, discouraging number. I propose the 3,000-hour rule. This is the amount of time that, for many activities, takes you from complete novice to genuinely proficient to someone who knows their stuff, who can contribute meaningfully, and who can even monetize their skills. Now, 3,000 hours. That sounds like a lot. But let's do some math, because, I love a good financial calculation. If you dedicate just 1 hour a day to an interest, 7 days a week, that is 7 hours a week, about 365 hours a year. So to reach 3,000 hours, it would take you about 8 years, give or take. But what if you dedicated 2 hours a day? Now you're at 730 hours a year, and you'll hit that 3,000-hour mark in just over 4 years. 4 years to become genuinely proficient in something you love, something that could open up new income streams, new connections, new joys. That is a tiny investment for a massive return. And here is the kicker. You don't have to do it all at once. You can work on one interest for a while, get to a good level, then shift focus, or integrate it into your existing life. The point is, your time is your most valuable asset. And every hour you spend building a new skill, exploring a new passion, that is an investment. An investment in your human capital, your potential, your future earnings, and just like a good investment, stop thinking of your interests as distractions. Start thinking of them as assets, as future income streams, as mental playgrounds where you're building intellectual muscles. Every time you try to squash an interest, you're essentially laying off a potential future employee, an employee who could be bringing you joy, fulfillment, and yes, even money. One final thought: in this world of endless distractions and constant pressure to conform, to specialize, to fit into a neat little box, there is immense power in being authentically you. And if authentically you means being a multifaceted, multi-passionate human being, then own that, embrace that, thrive in that. Don't let anyone tell you that you're too much or that you need to choose. You don't. You can have it all, just not all at the same time, all the time. You know what I mean? It is about intelligent allocation of your most precious resource, your time, your attention, and your energy. So go forth, my fellow multi-passionate dreamers, explore, learn, connect, and build a life that is as rich and varied as your magnificent mind. But wait, there is more, because I'm not just here to pump you up with feel-good vibes. I'm here to give you actionable strategies, the nitty-gritty of how to actually make this multi-interest thing work without burning out or going broke. Let's talk about the dreaded time management. Everyone talks about it. Few actually master it, especially when you have 10 different things you're passionate about. My secret sauce, the time blocking method with a twist. Most people think time blocking means scheduling every minute, like some kind of robot overlord of your own life. That is a recipe for rebellion, my friend. Instead, think of it as time chunking. You designate large blocks of time, say 2 to 3 hours, for a specific interest. And within that chunk, you have the freedom to work on whatever aspect of that interest you want. For example, Monday morning, 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. is my deep work chunk. During this time, I might be coding or writing a script, or doing some intensive market research. No distractions, no notifications, just pure, unadulterated focus on one of my core interests. Then, maybe Tuesday afternoon, 1 p.m. to 3 p.m., is my creative exploration chunk. This is where I might mess around with a new photography technique, or learn a few chords on a guitar, or brainstorm new video ideas. It is less structured, more playful, but still dedicated time for an interest. The beauty of this is that it gives your brain permission to fully engage with one thing, knowing that its other beloved interests will get their turn. It is like telling a bunch of hungry kids, "Don't worry, everyone gets a piece of cake, just not all at once." And speaking of cake, let's talk about energy management, because time without energy is just, well, wasted time, right? Each activity draws on a different type of energy. Some are mentally demanding, some are physically demanding, some are emotionally demanding. The trick is to alternate between these different types of energy expenditure. Don't schedule two highly mentally demanding tasks back to back. That is like trying to run two marathons without resting in between. You'll crash and burn instead. Follow a mentally draining task with something more physical, or something more creative, or something purely recreational. For me, after a few hours of intense coding, my brain is fried, so I'll switch to something like going for a run, or playing a musical instrument, or even just doing some light household chores. Yes, even cleaning can be a form of active recovery. If you do it mindfully, this strategic rotation helps you recharge different parts of your brain and body, keeping your overall energy levels higher throughout the day and throughout the week. Now, a lot of you might be thinking, Leo, this all sounds great, but what about the money? How do I actually make a living with all these interests? Aren't I supposed to be a financial guru, not just a life coach? Excellent question, my friend. And this is where the intersection of your interests becomes your goldmine. Remember how I talked about the Venn diagram, those overlaps, those unique combinations of skills. Those are your unfair advantages in the marketplace. Think about it. If you're just an investor, you're competing with millions of other investors. If you're just a coder, you're competing with millions of other coders. But if you're an investor who can code, who can also explain complex financial concepts on video in an engaging way, suddenly your competition shrinks dramatically. You're not just one thing, you're a unique blend of things. And in a world screaming for uniqueness, that is incredibly valuable. So, start looking for ways to combine your interests. Can your photography skills be used to enhance your online course content? Can your passion for cooking be turned into a side hustle where you teach healthy meal prep for busy professionals? Can your knowledge of ancient history somehow inform your strategy for investing in emerging markets? The possibilities are endless, and the more diverse your interests, the more unique and valuable combinations you can create. This isn't about ditching your main source of income, initially at least. It is about slowly, patiently, building bridges between your interests, creating new pathways for income, for creativity, for fulfillment. It is about having multiple income streams, not just to diversify your finances, but to diversify your sense of purpose and worth, so that if one stream dries up, you've got others flowing, keeping you afloat and thriving. Another often overlooked aspect of thriving with multiple interests is building a supportive community. Let's be honest, not everyone gets it. Some people will always tell you to focus, to specialize, to conform, and that is okay. They're coming from a place of what they know. But you need to find your tribe,